To say that this is an interesting pattern amongst the Litecoin cross against Bitcoin, I think would be an understatement. And welcome to this evening's video for the date of the first day of January 2019. Almost said the 18 number. My name is Derek. All bets trades of the like within one's own each risk and their own reward. We already have these highs seen back in November at the end of the month, as well as after the first week of the same month. It comes up in here in December on the 17th. Then has this nice lows amongst the 18 average of highs. High hits again on Christmas Eve. And then a matching low, albeit it pierced below it. Quick rally back up the very next day. And over the last little bit, this is where support has come in and now leaving this 18 average, albeit just barely. When we start talking about patterns like an inverted head and shoulders pattern, left shoulder here, we got a head in here and this right shoulder here. This neckline, this general area, is what it's attempting to break out of. But the right shoulder is an inverted head and shoulders within itself. Because we have left shoulder, we got head, and we got right shoulder amongst this neckline range in here. So left, head, right, and then this entire, I think it's just a cool, interesting pattern. But within the play, it's had the move up to this level, resistance, find support, retest of high, very deep pullback to the point where, I mean, it's kind of a matching low, albeit it is lower. And then not such as great of a rally attempt as it came close to this high. Not quite, but what it did do was hold and stay above a key for a key higher low. First you have this level of support, then a little bit as well. But even the normality, it seems, failed breakdown below here, fast move higher coming in, but it's holding the rally that it had from December the 13th through the 17th. Still, that's what it's been doing for the last couple of weeks. It still has to get above this resistance, so I'm looking at the story. What's the status of it, what's it's doing, and that's what it's doing, holding on via that of time near the upper end of its sideways range from that event, which was the rally from the below 70 handle to above the 84 handle. And when we're looking at this on the weekly, spending the last three periods amongst the 18 highs, congesting amongst this area, it spent very little time amongst. But having a situation breaking out above, oftentimes you can have a decent sized break. So having a move, bringing this to and above the 0.01 handle, not much of a surprise. But when these things have gotten going in the past, there has been significant moves. And you can say it's overdue to go higher, and maybe that's the case. But when something is overdue for something, and like something like this, because it's been down for so long, or maybe in pro sports a team has had a lot of losses or wins for so long it's got to come to an end. Well, it can keep going, but yes, it will do such. And whether it stops going down here, which obviously it didn't, that's past tense. Back then you were thinking, okay, maybe it's going to bottom now. Well, no, maybe this was going to be where, no, maybe here, maybe, and maybe it's going to get going now. Well, doubtfully, but it could. But it could happen with another leg lower. It could happen in 4 months, and it could start tomorrow. And that's what I would have been saying back here. Oh, yep, could have been here. Yep, could have been here. Yep, could here. Okay, it's happening in here. Same thing back in here. Like, of course, the difference here is just like saying back here, oh, it's down too much because it's been this amount of time. It's been this amount of price. Here you can say it's been this amount of time, or time and price, and well, at this point one could have said, well, we could have very easily resisted here, done this, and then it might have had a big move after it. And I'm not in the business of trying to guess when and how big these moves are going to be. rather than when they happen, react to them the best way that I possibly can. Now quickly on with some other altcoins. We got THC holding well right now, congesting. It's pretty much supporting here what it resisted back in here. It's down a lot from this high back at like well over 640. And I remember thinking when it was at 2,000 that I can wait for even go to 1,000, and well, and then it goes down to 2 and 220. But as it lies now, we have this situation where it's holding and staying above this area. It's had a couple of opportunities to get going. Once in here, once in here. This is traded on low volume. So how are these moves being manifested? Are they just single buys in here? Like this is a spot where there was a decent buy that came in. Is this just one big one big wallet from one person? Or is this a group of people or a large group of wallets that happen, like 4, 5, 6 individuals? I don't know, but oftentimes that's all these moves are, is somebody who wants to get in a decent amount, and well, they buy it up from like 303 to like 327 here. Then there's no bids after he or she or they buy at that point. Then there are no bids in at like from this point, like 305, 310. So when they sell it down, the only people that can buy upon the start of that hour and all points were ones that put their bids in there after the fact. So these sell-offs, if you look at the volume down here, it didn't come with much volume at all in the selling because those were new offers, so it didn't take much to do it. It did spark another round of buying, and this came on lower volume because there wasn't that many ask offers, as people who were selling here were people that had orders in from this whole period of time, from like December 26th evening through December 29th evening. So for 3 days, this is 3 days worth of people that can be putting in sell orders that would have been executed at that time. Next up is the Stratus coin, ticker symbol STRAT, which had a straight up move to here, 1 day consolidation and a small 3-day event, barely making a new high. Several red candles down in a row. However, today, with only about 30 minutes left in its session, will close with a positive gain, finding support barely below the 18 average of the lows. Now can it hold and stay above this 30,400 area, or just where the 18 lows happens to be? I say that with a question mark, because when I say I want to see a market hold and stay above a certain area, that means oftentimes it can go below there, but usually only for short periods of time. And just by looking at this, even going below here, when you got point A low, point B high, I mean, making higher lows here is fine, and the general stay above area of where it came from is still at a point that it is only reached, as we can see here to here, the upper end with. So it has came back to where it came from, but like a perfect hit almost at this stage, as that would be the resistance from those 2 times. Of course, looking at this at the weekly chart, that's been in this down move, resistance, or as far as reversal of trend is concerned, we can see that it has came back to this band. So whether you want to call it resistance established, I kind of think it's close enough. But what would be ideal is for the next 4, 5, 6 weeks to maybe hold and stay above this, maybe retest resistance once or twice more, and then develop a great pattern. And then later on, when it breaks this 40 and change number, maybe it can have a nice move and maybe get up to about 130 over maybe a 6 or 7 week period. As like you can see here, when this thing went way up, it went way up. So that's how the weekly chart goes. Now with this shorter term time frame, 4 hour, just hanging in there, but within the single hour time frame, this is where things get very interesting. That is because we've had this decline in here. We can see the dates. It's been multiple days, 29, 30, 31, as we now are in 2019. But what it has done is, after getting above this level of resistance, band flattening out, resistance established their stage 2 of the correctionary phase back to the band, which is where it's at now. So the general feeling of this is you've had an attempt to revert the trend, and you're doing it still such that if you succeed, congratulations, you're going to be able to make a nice leg higher above this, thus turning the single hour time frame into a bullish situation. It hasn't gotten above this area yet, but again, that's how it's playing through now. If you see weakness amongst this, we've already had support established in here. We've already had this 18 average, which was rising, now flatten out amongst such that weakness falling below. We've seen it so many times before. You have an attempt in breaking out, failed move to the upside. Oftentimes you get a fast move in the opposite direction, and opposite of up, well, you know the answer to that. Now let's move this on to Ethereum against Bitcoin, starting off within the weekly chart. As we have seen after this 2018 test, have pretty much a double top formation, hasn't broken down below this neckline, extending its support in here. So therefore, in a bearish level, what you can have happen is either a continuation amongst this sideways consolidation or even a lower high rally. On a bullish level, well, I've seen that happen before. You come down to key areas and obviously you go higher. The market has come from and still holding from its 2017 lows, which means if this does become the bottom, it can hold and stay above this area here or just keep soaring. And then it's possible that this could potentially get above its previous high of 0.14. But for now, the market is making its status of breaking above the 18 average. It flattened out basically instantly, and when you continue rising higher above such, then that's going to make the 18 average start to increase. So I'd like to see some resistance get established a little higher, maybe at least at around 412 to 420 as a minimum level. But that is part of that next stage. When we look at this on a daily term time frame, it got going down here in the middle of December. It really got going around December 22nd. And from that point, you have this resistance established back to the 18. And then you come in here, you find this resistance in here, and it's been correcting magnificently on a bullish level for the last few days. When we take a look at the completion of today's candle, it's green, it's up, obviously. It's on test number 3 of this point. So we can take a look at this more by shortening it out. But this run doesn't seem over. In fact, when you got, to me, I look at this point A high from a magnificent move, its first price correction, and then a move back to previous high, and then 2 days pause, and even today being a pause. That getting above there any time is not a surprise and a decent sized gain on that situation. Again, I would expect to be the probable event. 4-hour term time frame. When we look at this, you got such a beautiful setup. There's your resistance established from this awesome move. You support this short-term area where it came from. You have another lower low come in from, or lower low come in from this point here. And when you have this empty space from a quick move, it's important to have a higher low. There's no big deal in having the market go down. You have people that are going to get some profits here and there because the markets went up. Once those thinking minds do and act upon such are done, then you get a reduction of people wanting to sell. You have people seeing this go up, and a lot of them aren't selling because whether they're looking to sell higher at like maybe 10% more or 100% more or 20 times more, or no idea when they sell. They're not selling at this point. So it does reduce the amount of sellers. But from this point, nice green candles up, and this consolidation followed by this consolidation followed by the last green candle and this one, which is attempting to break above the 18 average of highs, is showing me that this could be poised for a decent break higher really soon. And I'm looking at this on the 4-hour time frame. This is going back over since just before Christmas is when, of course, this topped. We can see more via the single hour term time frame. And I like to put in horizontal lines here and there. So we have resistance supported roughly around here. That's where it might be coming down to on the short term, because it just broke above this like a few periods ago. It did so at 2 p.m. Eastern time. It's coming back right now. It's at the 18 average of highs. So will it have that failed breakout fast move lower? Will we have the break higher, come back to support, and then lift off? That's the answer I don't know as of yet. But when I look at how things like this play out, you're going to have a lot of times a big up move after when it's ready to go. For this market had a big green candle after a lot of sideways consolidation. Then a lot of sideways consolidation here, big up move. So it's having a price correction. It does seem like it may be heading down towards this line because it does have its importance within it. But when I look at this time frame on the 4, anytime I see heavy volume coming in, I know it's lifting off from here. I know it can easily go back down a bit more, but it's still in the poised, ready to go scenario that if buyers come in at any point, you're going to have to give them a lot of benefit of the doubt because of how strong this setup is at this point. And I'm going to finish this video off within silver, which is not crypto related, and it's unfortunate it isn't right now because I can't buy silver sort of like a TUSD or a dollar tether into the cryptocurrencies. Like I wish I could be able to, just back and forth for whatever reasons, but to have it available, like the option should be there. I'm surprised it isn't right now. So, of course, gold you would expect to definitely have it. If gold ones exist, then maybe silver ones would, but hey, it's breaking out amongst this level now, and well, you can buy cryptocurrency or silver with cryptocurrencies, but that was something I did at the end of 2017 and for the first few months of 2018. Cryptocurrencies go back up again. I mean, these movements silver has is whatever. I mean, so it goes up maybe on the monthly chart, maybe it goes up to like 20 or 28. Oh, so it doubles. When cryptocurrencies have 7, 10, 20, 50x moves, then 2 and 3x moves become very much deflated in comparison. So therefore, with the possibility of higher Bitcoin prices, then I'll be adding to my collection. I've already added more than 100% more of the physical holdings from the time I started crypto trading to, at this point right now. It would be pretty cool if I could do that or better, meaning add another 100 or 200% from even where I stand right now. But for me, the better prices come when the ratios get really good. Right now it's at about 239 to 1. And last year, when the year begun, we can see that the price was about 16 and change, so 16 and a half. Well, when we had $19,000 Bitcoin prices and silver was around 1650, well then the ratio got to 1100. I remember way back last year when it was 150, thinking it was going to go way high and then come back again down to 150. Overall, there's going to be large volatility. So when the ratio gets much north, over 500 again, 1,000, 2,000 to 1 odds, or 1 ratio, then it becomes a very good ideal time for me to use such and then wait for the delivery man to come a couple days later. He hasn't arrived to my house in a long time because I obviously know the reason why. I haven't bought since like April, May, sometime in that time frame, maybe June, probably May. But there's a situation where I could just come in one day and maybe double my portfolio in just that one day or 2 orders because of the availability later on. But realistically, Bitcoin goes up to this 6,000 and change level in here, like 63, 64. Well, definitely if all coins have a good move, I get some sell orders coming in, then I'm going to have Bitcoin. I'm going to need something to do with those Bitcoins. One thing to do will be to put buy orders in for what I sold and for other things I might want to accumulate later on. Another thing is moving it to some Bitcoin in my hardware wallet. And another thing is taking Bitcoin from the hardware wallet, and well, that's how you buy silver and gold. And what gets up here, it may be like a small buy. But then as the prices start to move up in this level in here, well, if it's at, say, 14,000, let's just assume silver rallies with it this time. And of course, if it doesn't, the ratio would be better. But if it's 14,000, let's just assume silver makes it up to 20 at this time. Well, the ratio would be up to 700. And then if the Bitcoin fanatics who think it's going to 6 digits are correct, well, let's just say on the way there, when it's, say, 57,000, maybe it might take a year, maybe it might take 2 weeks or 2 months or 5 years, or may not happen at all. But if it takes like okay amount of time, well, maybe silver's made it to $37 and the ratio would be 1,500 to 1. And then maybe you get 250,000 Bitcoin. And silver has broken that $50 resistance and is trading at 175. And the ratio would still be 1,501. And then maybe later on after that, silver explodes. But that was after Bitcoin fell. So maybe you might see something like $82,000 Bitcoin. And then maybe we are seeing $1,775 silver and the ratio's back down to 50 to 1. These are the type of events that wouldn't surprise me amongst the movement of both the silver and Bitcoin. Again, I'm surprised there's no crossing where I can, with an instrument of such, turn Bitcoin into gold and or silver, at least very easily through pretty much every major exchange. But it is what it is. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day, weekend, great new year. Bye-bye.